Why I can't speak? Hello everybody and welcome back to this YouTube channel. My name is Julia and Julie by Queen. I should start saying that, but the fact that July, I pronounce it as Julie, I think it's gonna give a shutdown to majority of people because that's how I thought when I was younger. And majority of people from, at least in my city in Romania, always pronounce July as Julie. So yeah, Julie by Queen, Julia. Or as Brits like to say, Lulia, but it's actually an I, not an L. Although I write my name in official documents with obviously a capital letter, people think it's a lowercase L, and I'm just like, how stupid do you think I am? So I'm planning to do my everyday makeup. I'm not quite sure how this video is going to perform. Generally speaking, I'm quite scared of tutorials just because they don't perform well, because I really don't know. I mean, I'm feeling at the beginning when I started, because obviously no one knew who the hell I am. It's not as if now much people know, but I achieved 800 subscribers, which is quite a lot. So maybe this little community that I gathered is interested now in my everyday makeup routine. I personally enjoy seeing these. I feel they are the most like true to what you generally love and use. So that's why I was inspired today to move forward and don't allow views to scare me. So I'm gonna show you every single product that I love and I know is not gonna fail me ever. I actually changed a few, but I'm still gonna show you the ones I used to use before and the new ones that I implemented into my routine. But yeah, without further ado, let's start. I always start with my base. So obviously primer. I have here two E.L.F primers, and Poreless Putty primer is one of my favorites, and I'm gonna show you the actual state of it. It's beaten up because I love it, and the hype is real and I love it. I think it's quite hydrating. It's still pore filling because obviously it's called Poreless Putty primer. It is like a putty texture, but it just has a hydration level to it. I hate the primers that are just mainly pore filling. It's not that I hate it, but I don't like it necessarily. I love this one and it's a holy grail. However, lately I've been gravitating towards its sister Mint Melt Cooling Face Primer. I think this is so cool. Much different, like hugely different in texture from this one. But I feel this makes the foundation grip so well to the skin because of this. So yeah, lately I've been using this guy, so I'm gonna use it today as well because it's a fairly new primer into my collection. So I was like, I'm gonna use you, and it looks so cool, and it's very like, it is actually cooling. Now that I've used it more often, and I have Lash there, now that I've used it more often, I can tell it is cooling. Now I let it to cool a bit and sink into my skin because that's what it recommends on the bottle. At the same time, it feels a bit like just, it needs to set, like, I don't know how to explain it, but it feels, at some point you feel it like it's kind of set after like a minute or so. So yeah, I just wait for a bit and then go on with the foundation. In the meantime, I forgot my lips are so crusty and I'm applying this Caudalie Lip Balm. I actually got this gifted from one of my friends and I've been loving this one as well. I think Caudalie is a bit of a bougie expensive brand, but it's a really good lip balm. Like, I feel it really does hydrate my lips. So moving on to foundation. And my favorite foundation is the True Match by L'Oreal in shade Golden Ivory. This is my holy grail. Like, it never fails me in terms of like an everyday full coverage foundation. I tend to use for special occasion the Estee Lauder, I don't know how people pronounce it. Estee Lauder. I think that's how I usually pronounce it, but I have no idea why I want to say Estee Lauder. Anyways, that's the foundation I use for special occasions. Special occasions. Why I can't speak? The double wear. I think it's in 1 and 2. The only thing is that it's comedogenic. That one, it breaks me out. If I use it more than a couple of days, like let's say 2 or 3, the 4th day I'm seeing like underneath spots because it's comedogenic. This is not. So it's amazing, it's affordable, and it looks sick. It's true, the only reason why I love the double wear is because I feel it always stays put together, even in like the most like heat wave sort of scenario, because I tested it out and it looks amazing. But yeah, I just mentioned it because that's one of my favorites in terms of high-end and special occasions. But every day, this is actually my favorite. I love it, and it's the perfect match in terms of shade. And yeah, I don't have words enough to explain how much I love this foundation. And yeah, it's half empty actually because I love it so much. And something that I know makeup artists always cringe at is the fact that I use a sponge. I've been in touch with a few makeup artists at some point, and all of them were like, oh my god, you use a sponge. And I'm like, yes, I use a sponge. It's only for me. And a brush works, okay. Like at that time, I was like, a brush doesn't work. It works, but it's so much hard work to do that I'm not willing when it's on an everyday basis. And I always clean my sponges, so make sure if you're like me and love a sponge, you know, replace it every often. Like maybe, I sometimes keep it more than 3 months, not gonna lie, but I know I always clean it after I use it or before I'm actually using it all the goddamn time. Like I never just get it and wet it, I always clean it. So yeah, I'm not quite sure. Some people say a month, some people say 3 months. I keep it more than that, and seriously, I never had any issues with my skin in terms of like going wild. I kind of use like 3 pumps, I would say. I just put a bit at a time on the sponge and gently just go around. I mean, not gently, usually I beat my face if I'm like rushing. I can do my makeup in like 10 minutes. I can actually do that. But obviously today is not gonna be 10 minutes because I'm talking, and we all know by now, if you're already subscribed, that I talk a lot. Like it matches my skin so well. Like if you have an olive undertone like myself and you're fair, the shade Golden Ivory is perfect. Like literally the most perfect shade ever. It's so dewy, it's hydrating, like it really does what it says on the tin. And I think like I will never get, it's just a holy grail and an OG, and for the good reasons, really. Right, so one thing I would mention is I think this product is discontinued. I recently got from an outlet. If you're from London and you can reach the O2, where the concerts are at, they actually have outlets, like actual in-store shops, like inside the O2 shops, and they have a makeup one for like the drugstore section and a high-end one. So I found the Maybelline Master Camo kind of like concealer. This is pink for illuminating dull skin, light to medium. I have no idea why Maybelline discontinued this, because I knew people, like I remember people raving about this thing, especially Nikita Dragon for the red one. And yeah, I was very shocked to see this in an outlet, but I'm not quite sure, because sometimes they keep stuff that it's discontinued, but sometimes they just keep affordable stuff at a lower price. But I try to find it in shops and I can't, so I'm very sorry if you can't find it. But lately I've been loving color correcting. I mean, I think that should be the main kind of conclusion to say per se, although you can't find this product. It's a nice one. I want to try the Becca as well, but that one it's discontinued as well because they are shutting down the business, so that's fun. And after I blend it out, I actually take my favorite concealer, which is the Catrice Liquid Camouflage Concealer in shade 010 Porcelain. And I really love this stuff because I feel it doesn't crease as much as other concealers do on me. It still creases, like I have quite a very deep line over there, which sometimes drives me crazy, but I feel this concealer is like the best out of them all that I've tried. I take a brush instead of a sponge because seriously, I've noticed a huge difference. Like, I don't like brushes when it comes to my skin, my entire face, because it takes ages, but when it comes to the actual under eye area, it's actually taking less than, you know, the entire face, because obviously it's a small section, but yeah, that makes sense, Julia. I don't bother with the forehead and stuff to illuminate when I'm rushing. I just go straight with powder, and my favorite powder used to be, and still is, the Lucky London Ready Set Go powder. I love this stuff. I still recommend it. I think it's sickening. It's so cheap, and is the version that you can find in the UK of my favorite powder. However, when I went to Romania, I found this brand called Wibo. And this powder was on offer. I think it was like a tenner, and I found it for maybe like 6 quid on offer. And I was like, let's try it, because the only thing that intrigued me is it has 4 sections of powder: pink, yellow, translucent, I think, yeah, white, and yellow. Yeah, something like that. It has different colors into it, and I think it's a dupe of something from Giorgio Armani. I found something very similar on Look Fantastic, and it has the 4 sections open, and you get the powders mixed in here. And I was like, that looks very gimmicky to me, like, let's try it out. And this is like the most amazing powder ever. Like, I feel it smooths my skin even better than this, but because I feel it's the colors that work a bit better than the translucent one from Lucky London. The finish is exactly the same, but I just feel it illuminates my skin, my under eye area, so much better than this guy. So I still love both of them, but I'm not gonna sit here and pretend I did not gravitate towards this more than the Lucky London one, because that would be a huge lie. I did use this one so much, and I'm planning to back up when I'm going home because I love it. I hope I'm still gonna find it. So I put a lot of powder underneath them just to make sure they are nicely set. This is amazing. I always put a bit on my chin as well, and here, a bit on my nose and on my forehead. And if I'm not gonna wear a mask, which usually it's pretty much always, I take a fluffy, huge brush like this one from Spectrum, and I dip into the powder and apply it around my kind of like area where the mask is gonna sit. But because I'm not gonna do that today, I'm not gonna overly powder my face, just because I never do. Like, I don't need that much powder. This is enough for me. And I know for some people it's shocking, but I have normal skin. So yeah. I love the whole trend of soap brows, and I tried the Schwarzkopf kind of like Got Big Glue gel. That's amazing as well. I do have it in my house, but the only reason I don't use that one is because I find the Pearl soap works just as fine, and since I have it, I just keep that one for my hair. But that one is amazing too. Like, if you wanna grab that one instead of this one, I think it holds a bit better the stick to the head sort of look, but I personally don't want that. The only reason I like the soap brow trend is because it arranges the hair as if it's brushed in a nice way, and that's the kind of like part I really love about it. I don't necessarily mind if it's not stick to my head, but yeah, I mean, everybody to its own kind of like preferences. So I spritz a bit of setting spray and take a spoolie and literally just brush. I cut a piece just because I need to travel with this. Whenever I go home to my parents, I just decided to cut a piece from this huge soap just because, I mean, I'm not gonna carry this one out. It doesn't make any sense, to be completely honest. So I just brush. I love it so much. It's just you need to apply a tiny bit. Like, do you see how much, like, that's it. Like just a tiny bit, and kind of like brush to a point where it kind of like gets dry. You don't want to get it too wet, the brush. Sometimes if it's too wet, I kind of like try to dry it down so it will not break my foundation around the brows. But if it does, what I do is just take the brush and kind of blend it out because it works. But it's true, you need to be a bit careful. Recently, again from the outlet, I actually bought myself an Ardell Brow-Lebrity eyebrow pencil, which is in shade Taupe. And it actually has a spoolie as well, which is quite handy. And obviously the tiniest, actually, the tiniest brow tip, like pencil. I'm not quite sure if this was discontinued, because if it is, this is actually really good. You can still find it in the outlet. They had so many of these, and I was like, oh my god, it was only £3. It was only £3, so that was so cheap. But anyways, so I recently started using a brow pencil instead of like pomade, just because daily speaking, this is much quicker to fill in. When it comes to bronzer, I actually have two bronzers lately. I always loved the Revolution Pro Sculpting bronzer in shade Bahia. I think this is actually such a good bronzer in terms of being affordable and huge pan. Like, I know this is still not like as affordable as other products from Revolution, but this is a huge pan. It's gonna last you forever. However, I recently bought the Crew Blush Bronzer Duo Compact. This is a blusher. I don't remember how it's named. Blushers, because it has a bronzer and a blush. And I really love this one because whenever I'm on the go, I just take this and I have a bronzer and a blush. But seriously, when it comes to the formula, I think it's very similar to the shade Bahia. I mean, this one from Revolution in shade Bahia. So you don't have to spend, you know, your coin on this one if you don't want to. But from a standpoint where it comes to, you know, having the blush in it, I really like it. I also like this one, Isn't It Peachy palette from Obsession, again Revolution. But yeah, when I'm, you know, very rushed, I really love the Ofra one. Like, I always grab this one because I'm like, ooh, take this, take that, and I'm done. And I always take an angled brush and just quickly fix my bronze. I always go up, and again, quite of an angled, like more wide brush for the blush. So I just take it and apply it upwards. I don't go too crazy because this is quite pigmented. So that was really quick because obviously I have both of them in one, which I adore. And when it comes to highlighters, not gonna lie, I have a bit of a pricier sort of taste. I realized today that I actually used only kind of like high-end highlighters lately, because I know so many people say the affordable ones work just as fine as the high-end ones, but the reality is they do melt a bit better into the skin. I'm saying that, and trust me, I am more of a drugstore orientated kind of person. If it's cheap, I am sold. But the fact that I reached out more to these guys, it kind of says, like, I try to find the reasoning why, and that's the reason why. They melt much nicer into the skin. I think the best out of highlighters I have from the drugstore sector is the Self X Revolution palette. I think that's like my go-to in a drugstore highlighter palette. But these are the two ones I gravitated towards majority of cases. This is the Benefit Cookie highlighter. This is stunning. Like, this is I can't even have words for it because before lockdown, I actually went to a job interview where I had to stay from morning till night, and I used this guy because I was excited. It was a new purchase and I was like, let's use it. I never thought that a highlighter can outstand a whole day of being like blinding, as in being as blinding as it was in the morning. This did that. I'm sorry, but I love this. However, recent purchase was from Ofra, the collab with STEPH the highlighter Milk and Cookies. I had a bit of a mixed feelings towards this. Like, my review was not like the most, you know, go grab it, because I dislike the fact that this shade I can't, like, I need to barely touch it. But I love the side, I love the milk side, and just to not waste the cookie side, I sometimes just take a bit of a tap in it and it works. It works just as fine. It's just a bit of disappointment that in her reveal she said, oh, you can swirl into it, but she didn't mention that obviously she is quite medium skin tone because she fake tans. And although I watched every single clip of hers, it sounded as if everybody can swirl into it and it's gonna be fine. Do you know what I mean? Like, it sounded like that, and I had that expectation and I was disappointed. But the formula is sickening, it's blinding, it smells amazing, and I did use it every single goddamn time I went out. So cookie benefit was not as loved, but I still love that one. It's still like my second kind of highlighter that I go towards, but this was the main star lately, so I'm gonna use it, being a new product. Like, look at that. No, I mean, it's a beautiful highlighter. It's just, I get why, like, I do understand she wanted it probably to be suitable for every single skin tone, but I feel in this day and age, people just don't want products that include bits that they can't use. Because seriously, I don't want to be a makeup artist. I'm still thinking through about it, but I just don't see myself doing makeup on other people. I enjoy the process of doing makeup on myself, but not on other people. So I don't think I'm ever gonna be a makeup artist. I mean, never say never, but I don't think I'm ever gonna be a makeup artist. I love the idea of content creation, but not being a makeup artist. So this is gonna be a wasted shade. Let's be honest, even if you say use it as a bronze topper, it's quite blinding for a bronze topper, like, no offense. But nevertheless, I love the product. It's just, it has some negatives about it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, just check the video, the review, if you want more tea on it. When I'm very much rushed, I actually gravitated towards the gold palette from Huda Beauty. This is a not limited edition. I think it's an exclusive palette to Cult Beauty, so you can only grab it from there, unfortunately, which is quite sad. I don't know why they made it exclusively to them, but it is such a beautiful palette. Like, it's gorgeous. I don't know if you can see the shimmers. Like, this palette really impressed me. I always thought Huda Beauty is overly hyped, but I know now it's for good reasons. If all of the palettes have the amount of brightness into the shimmers, is just stunning. The mattes, I'm not very like, oh my god, but the shimmers will outcome the quality of the mattes, which personally I feel it's quite, I can compare it to Revolution, no offense, the Revolution Pro ones. I kind of see it similar, but the shimmers, they don't match, and that's why it's worth the price. And the primer that I love and adore is the P.LOUISE one. I think this is the best primer I've ever tried for the eyes. It's pricey, but it's huge and it's worth it. Like, it really does make your eyeshadows pop and stick, which I adore, and I think everybody does. Like, why would you not adore having the eyeshadow sticking where it should and not creasing, you know what I mean? So I always go for this shade. Does it have names? No, it doesn't. I always gravitate towards this kind of like pinky maroony shade. It's a bit dusty, but it has a lot of pigment, so I don't mind it. I'm not overly obsessed with the mattes, but it's still good, like, you know what I mean? It's not like, oh my god, this is horrible. Like, it's pigmented, it's nice, it's just, I don't know. I feel the shimmers are outstanding compared to the mattes, but seriously, what can you do more for mattes than just being, I don't know, pigmented and stuff? So, you know. And what I did lately is just grab randomly a shimmer. And I think today I'm gonna go with this middle one just to be a bit extra. Like, it depends where I'm going and how I'm feeling. Like, it's kind of like glittery. Gonna have a bit of fallout, but we're gonna solve it out. And one thing I really like about the shimmer is that it doesn't stick to my skin. Like, it's fairly easy to remove when you have fallout with it. And I think that's such an important aspect because, like you've seen, I prefer doing my face first, always. Especially when I'm like quick, because I feel the face always needs to be put together, while the eyes you can figure out if you still have time to put eyeshadow. If not, just put a mascara, an eyeliner, and you're good to go. So yeah, I always tend to do my face first. But yeah, this is pretty much what I do. Like, I don't do much with my eyes, and if I have time, an eyeliner, I love an eyeliner, so I'm doing an eyeliner. And I really love the NYX Epik ink liner. I think I've missed out so much on like my eyeliner because I did not try this, and seriously, I'm so glad I decided to go ahead and buy it because it's the best purchase I've ever made. So for mascara, I actually love the Essence Lash Princess Volume Mascara. This is probably my favorite, and I prefer this one more than the turquoisey one, because that one, I tried it once and it transferred. And yeah, this did not transfer, so I'm using this one lately. I love it, and I think it gives me more length and volume than the green turquoisey one. I think I'm always looking for longevity. Is that a word? Like long volumized lashes, just because mine are inexistent. Like, look how amazing it does them. And I tend to not go for false lashes, but today I'm gonna do it because sometimes if I have the time and if I'm feeling it, I do. And seriously, as weird as this looks, after with my mascara, I tend to go with an eyeshadow in my inner corner, because if I have time, I do it. If I don't, then I don't. So yeah, that's why I always leave it after my lashes. So I go, let's say, with this guy, like a lighter one obviously, and I apply it in my inner corner. The fact that I forgot to apply my highlighter on my nose and on my cupid's bow, it's incredible. I never forget doing that, but today I did. So I'm just doing that right now. Oh, that was a lot. I love myself a milk mustache, like Steph Thompson says herself. But seriously, it's really funny because I did not hear the whole thing with milk mustache firstly at her. I actually heard my boyfriend once saying, why do you put so much on your lip, like the highlighter? It looks like you drank milk. And I was like, exactly. I love to stand out. Like, my cupid's bow is so pointed and it has a really beautiful shape that I want people to properly see it. And then I heard Steph Tom saying, oh, milk mustache, and I was like, yeah. Lips, literally lips. Oh yeah, the lashes, no, forget about the lips, it's lashes. So I have a brand new pair over here. These are the JIMIRE Be Fashion BU lashes. I don't think they have a style name, but they look as they are a dupe for the Ardell Wispies. And these are so good, and they also have like a transparent a transparent band, and they are just the most amazing lashes. Like, I adore them. These are actually a pack for my boyfriend's mom, because she asked me, she was like, bring me some. But I have a crusty old pair into my or very well organized lashes. Like, do you love this like I do? I'm a organizer freak, and I found this on Shein, and it's the best thing. It's literally the best thing, and it was so cheap. It was like £3. So here are my crusty ones. So I think this is going to be the first time you're seeing me applying lashes. So what I do is I actually use this kind of like grabber spoolie, I don't know, and I always grab it as such, and then, oh, where is it? I use dual lash adhesive glue. I used the white clear one, and I really like this one, and it lasts such a long time. Like, I have this for over a year and I still have loads in it. And lately I've been using lashes a lot. Like, something that lockdown really learned me, I just apply it as such, is how to apply lashes. Like, I had time to understand how to apply them much quicker than I used to, and I don't have to, I don't know, like before I used to apply it, I had to take it off, reapply glue, reapply the lash, because it would turn like not good. So I leave it for like 30 seconds, and I always do like this, like, and now I just apply it, take the end and quite put it in the middle. Like, I don't put it at the end just because I want to lift a bit my eye, and then take the inner part and stick it. And I always take the tip and kind of like push, squeeze, squeeze. I know some people squeeze it like as such, but I don't like that. I feel it's much secure to squeeze a teeny tiny bit at a time, because once I did that, then I always tapped my eye, so I don't recommend it. I definitely need to grab myself a pack, because seriously the inner corners are acting a bit up just because they are quite old. Let's go with the lips, and that's pretty much it really. I've been hyped onto NYX lately, it seems, and I got myself some lip liners from them, and I have here Nude Truffle and Nude Beige. I prefer Nude Truffle just because it's a bit darker and it's kind of like on my liking. And yeah, I've been using these, and they are so good. Like, they are so good. They glide on. They are not like too slippery, but they are not dry. They are just the perfect in between, and they are so cheap. It's like £4 one, and for how good it is, I think it's a bargain. So I always line my lips. I don't overline the above lip. I just don't like it. I have very small like lips, and I'm quite proud with them. Like, I like to make them volumized with highlighter and contour. It doesn't mean I'm ashamed with them. Like, seriously, I actually talked about this over my stories at some point on Instagram. I don't see that many people with like thinner lips being very advocate about, you know, having thin lips, and I feel it's such a pressure to just go for fillers. And I personally never felt the need to go for fillers. I don't judge people doing them. It's just people judge me not doing them sometimes, and it's a bit excessive and annoying, because seriously, for example, I know I'm gonna put something in my forehead because I don't like the lines I have already. Like, they're very fine, but I know they're gonna get deeper and deeper, and I'm gonna hate that. But for example, with the lips, I never felt the need to do it. And it's so much pressure, not only on myself, I bet, to just do fillers because your lips are thin. But seriously, I think I'm just gonna be a bit more vocal about it because I don't see it often. So yeah, I really love my thin ass lips, and I like to line them and volumize them just to put them in a light, in like a nice light. But I don't overline them because I don't want them bigger. Like, I never thought about it. And yeah, I'm not gonna do it just because some other people say, you know, that's the norm. And I hope these thoughts are gonna help out some other people. The only bit I overline is here because I have a bit of discoloration, so I try to make them symmetrical, if that makes sense. So that's the only kind of like a few reasons why I do lips like this. Overlined a bit here, but the reality is, see, it's symmetrical. So yeah, nice, beautiful, nudie lip. It's my go-to, and I have a few options in here. My favorite is the Jamie Genevieve collab with MAC Cosmetics. That this is, you can't find it anymore. So I'm not gonna use this one. However, she launched her own makeup line, and I asked her in her video, what's the color? Well, like what, she must have one that is identical to this, and it's Vive. She said it's Vive, the go-to for dupe of the MAC Cosmetics one, because it's her collaboration, her brand, and she always raved about the fact that this is her perfect nude. So I assumed it's gonna have a comeback in her brand. And I also have free other lipsticks. This is the Halsey About Face lipstick in shade Nudist Judas. I love this. This is a much muted, dark, kind of like rusty brown, and I love this as a go-to for every day. Like the formula is amazing on the lips, I must say that. It's very hydrating, but it's matte. Like, how crazy is that? I also love her gloss. Like, I can apply the gloss, for example, so you can see how it looks, because this is fairly easy to remove. It looks much metallic on the website, but it's not. I think it's such a wearable, nice, flattering kind of nudie shade. This is in such great heights. I love this. It's definitely, I've been using this a lot daily. A very affordable one that I always gravitate towards is the I Heart Revolution Salted Caramel Lip Gloss. Like, this looks amazing, and I'm actually gonna go for this one because you can still find it. And seriously, look at this. And it smells like literally maple syrup. Like, how good is that? This is pretty much it. I really love, you know, this kind of like routine. I know I use a fair kind of like combination in between high-end and drugstore, but these are my kind of like go-to. If I would try to, you know, kind of like, I don't want to lie, like these are the products that I did gravitate towards lately. So I mean, obviously, if you would like to see more drugstore orientated kind of like makeup routine, definitely let me know in the comments. Same goes with high-end. I'm not quite sure if I have a piece of high-end product from every kind of like category. For example, powder, I definitely don't, but maybe it will get to that stage. I don't know, I will see. Right, so everything is gonna be listed down below. I don't think I mentioned that in the intro, but don't worry, everything is gonna be mentioned exactly in the kind of like steps I've used, so you won't get confused. So yeah, without further ado, I really hope you enjoyed this clip. It was useful and relevant. If you did like it, then definitely actually give it a thumbs up because it helps me out. Let me know in the comments down below what product you own or which is your holy grail. I would love to know that. And if you're not already subscribed, maybe give a chance, subscribe. It's for free. Obviously, unsubscribing, you can still do that afterwards, like, you know. And yeah, I mean, give me a chance. I upload every week pretty much, and I always do makeup bits, but I do other bits as well, just so it won't get too boring. And yeah, that's it. I'll hopefully see you within the next one. Bye.